Hey there folks, it's me TheTacticalBrit, and thank you for clicking on another one of my videos. If you go on to enjoy this, feel free to like and leave a subscribe if you're interested in seeing more. Now a lot of people ask me why I didn't really talk about some of the issues in Update 8 in Hell Let Loose, and the reason for that is because it was pretty obvious to me that whatever issues came about would end up being solved within a week or two. Lo and behold, they have been solved within a week or two, and in this video today, I'm going to bring you guys all the fixes coming to Update 8, hopefully before Christmas, which is going to be very good. Now before I get this video underway, today this video is brought to you guys by ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN is a fantastic VPN service for gamers, both in terms of protecting your privacy and also giving you DDoS protection. It also allows you to jump between regions, so whether that's activating a game early before its release day in New Zealand, or skipping across the pond to access Netflix in different countries. Everything's available, and it's even available on all your devices too, including smart TVs. So if you want to browse securely and do all of these cool things and get 3 months for free as a viewer of my channel, check out the link in the description and comment section below. Everybody who's watching this video is eligible for 3 months free when you sign up with ExpressVPN. So thank you very much to them for sponsoring. There are lots of changes and fixes here, but I'm going to go over primarily the main issues that have been changed. For starters, the vote kick threshold has been raised, and the percentage required by a team has been increased, as they found too many people were being kicked unfairly within this method. They've also seemingly solved 1 or 2 bugs with the VoIP or Vivox issues, reducing how frequently it appears, but it's something that they are still monitoring. For those of you who have complained about super sharp or super grainy anti-aliasing, they've actually fixed an issue with super grainy or sharp broken anti-aliasing. While these changes benefited TAA, they multiplied the effect on things like Clarity AA and have made it worse. This patch has changed those settings, and there's also a continuation saying that there will be more improvements to TAA in Update 9. They have changed all weapons, including the Bar, Thompson, MP40, Kar98, Garand, G43, and M3 Grease Gun to reduce the damage drop-off at range, as players who are landing difficult accurate shots were being punished for their efforts. So for those of you who are thinking of issues with time to kill, there has been a serious overhaul here, and most of it seemingly wasn't actually a change in direction by the development team, but rather just some issues with hitboxes, issues with their new limb system, that made people who were making good shots over range almost punished for their efforts. And we're also seeing here an increase to the shots to kill for extremities on some of the weapons as well, and returning the STG and Bar to their one-hit kill status. Effectively, most of these weapons will play much closer to their Update 7 variants, meaning that they will have much more damage as we're more used to, but definitely in terms of legs, feet, and even arms, you may notice some differences there. While it's not mentioned in the patch notes, I imagine that the issues regarding the actual hitbox system and also how hitbox are working with things like hands and arms has also been rejigged. It doesn't mention anything about bullet penetration, which is something that I would like to see with arms, but for the time being it does appear as though that the damage values have been changed, and ultimately all of these changes together, both in terms of the increase of weapon damage, hitbox changes that they probably have made but aren't exactly in the patch notes, and changes with the actual limbic system, means that all weapons should play closer to their Update 7 variants. Another issue that they have changed as well is that they've slightly lowered semi-automatic recoil. It's sort of in between Update 7 and Update 8. At the moment in Update 8, the semi-auto recoil was very high, and whilst I felt this worked for the M1 Garand, I felt like the G43 was being more or less completely punished for existing. They've also added bullet penetration to irritating materials that they'd missed, including wire fences, small wooden posts, and other just small bits of collision mesh that shouldn't really have caused any problems. There is a partial fix for grass loading slowly, which I know is something that was very annoying and actually made it almost exploitable for people who had just spawned in, which is very good. And they've also removed players' levels from their HUD icons, which was something that was very distracting, and I'm glad to see that that has changed. There's also some fixes in terms of server crashes, network improvements, and also fixing some reports of rubber banding. Now there's an entire section here dedicated towards Update 8 in terms of movement speed, and it's interesting to see what they say here. They've thought about a stamina system for Hell Let Loose and frequently decided against it, as the core of Hell Let Loose's emphasis to push forward bravely and efficiently, knowing that any ground requires forward movement. We start rewarding players for slow or static play, whether that being stamina making it harder to aim, or increasing the stability of stationary, crouched or prone players. We feel it would discourage the core of our attacking gameplay. This is something I highly agree with. They have reduced the running speed by about 1 to 2% in Update 8, and they reference here that they should have mentioned that in the actual Update 8 patch notes, and that it was just an error that it didn't make it in because it was one of the earlier changes. But I totally agree with this. One of the things that I think makes Hell Let Loose a more interesting game in some regards is the pacing of the game. The pacing of the game is very aggressive, and you can run across fields and try and make some serious plays, even though the running isn't necessarily particularly fast. And you can also have intentional movement, like zigzag movement, that can, really put enemy shots off. But they've also reduced the speed, so those things are a little less effective than what they were in Update 7. And in Update 7, I think most people will agree, it was very easy to zigzag away from single-fire rifles. And to be honest with you, I wholly welcome the fact that they're not changing or adding a stamina system. I think it's actually very true that once you add a stamina system, people play more passively. If you were to think of a game like Squad or Postscriptum and then take away their stamina systems, people would fundamentally play those games much more aggressively. And people do in Hell Let Loose because they can run without being hindered by stamina. And I think this is something worth keeping and something that they shouldn't change, because I think the pacing and enjoyability of Hell Let Loose is because people are willing to push. People are willing to run, people are willing to, come out of a trench line and really give it a go across a field, and it makes the combat far more interesting. Now, I understand that this is something that a lot of people will disagree with, but in my opinion, not every tactical shooter should do the same thing. Some of them should have different flows, different pacings, different gameplay rates, and Hell Let Loose is a perfect example of a game which has a much higher tempo, but in my opinion is much more enjoyable because of that. There's more consistent action, much more fun, and people play more aggressively generally speaking. So overall, most of the major issues with Update 8, both in terms of damage models, hit reg, that kind of stuff, have seemingly been addressed here, or allegedly will play closer to Update 7. There's also fixes for TAA and anti-aliasing generally speaking, and also some changes generally in terms of the overall HUD layout and just things going on, general fixes that you would anticipate. And the reason I never really talked about any of the issues with Update 8 is because I knew that there would be a blog post like this a week or two after it released. And lo and behold, there was an update a week or two after it released, and we'll likely see these changes iterated on before Christmas and hopefully see some more in the first half of 2021. Now, that's about it for this video today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the MG42 Buzzsaw gameplay. I had a blast running around Utah Beach and Omaha Beach today, just literally shredding it up with this thing, and it was a really great time. Be sure to check out the offer from ExpressVPN. It supports the channel. ExpressVPN are currently supporting me as a content creator, and if you want, free stuff, which we all do, feel free to check it out in the comment section below, and also the description box below. Leave a like, leave a sub, folks, and I'll catch you again in another video.